We'd like to thank everybody for tuning in today to Life Sciences of Washington, How to Eat to Live Facebook channel. Today we are here with Mr. Ray Muhammad, Mr. Victer Muhammad, and myself, Eric Ahad of Nature's V. Today we wanted to discuss some of the product review of IB100. Mr. Victer Muhammad, can you tell us about the questions that you were asked by Mr. Ray Muhammad as it related to what he was dealing with in his pre-existing conditions, and then your suggestion to him? And then at that point, Mr. Ray Muhammad, we will let you go ahead and speak as it relates to what took place in your using IB100. Mr. Victer Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Thank you. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. I was approached about 5 or 6 months ago by Mr. Raymond Muhammad, a man who I've known for at least the last 32 years. And I've known about Mr. Muhammad's health concerns for at least the last 15 years. And this time he expressed that he had gone to his primary care physician, and the physician had suggested, I believe, that he either get his toe amputated or a foot, I can't recall, and that he was supposedly dealing with diabetes as well as, I think, high blood pressure. And Mr. Muhammad asked me if I believe the IB100, or as we also refer to it as the supplement, would be beneficial for him. And my response to him, I believe, was that we had seen the IB100 reverse some of the characteristics of what is called diabetes. And we had seen in the last 2 years that where we did not before know this, but in the last 2 years, it's become apparent that the supplement does have some properties that appear to reduce high blood pressure. And so Mr. Muhammad acquired a 30-day supply of the supplement, and he began taking it. And just last week, he telephoned me to give me an update on the results that he had received. I believe it would be more factual if Mr. Muhammad himself detailed his communication to me last week. And if I misquoted anything in the initial conversation, Mr. Muhammad, you can clarify anything that I misquoted from that initial conversation we had regarding your health. Thank you.
Mr. Raymond Muhammad, we would like to allow you the time to go ahead and express what you have told to Mr. Victer Muhammad and what you've experienced. Would that be okay?
No problem.
Thank you. Go right ahead.
Yes, sir. I called Brother Victor and concerned about my health, and I explained to him what I was going through. I was struggling with diabetes, high blood pressure, and I had a surgery where my toe was amputated, and they gave me so much antibiotic, right? It damaged my kidneys. And I was almost close to a stage 4, where they were going to put me on, what you call that?
Dialysis?
Dialysis. They put me on dialysis. So I called Brother Victor and then let him know what I was going through. And I asked him, would that product help me? And he said, yes, sir. So I ordered it, and I was been taking the product for I think about 2 months now, maybe three, going on 3 months. And I got my blood results back last week, and my doctor told me that he never seen my blood pressure that low. I mean, it was good. I can't recall what it was, but it was good. He was very impressed, and he was happy about it. And then he told me that my AC1 was 6.6, and my AC1 ain't never been like that. And so he also told me that my kidney went back to stage 1, and he said that I would be scheduled to see him like every 2 weeks. Not that I would go every 2 weeks, but he said, hey, look, man, um, come back and see me in 3 months. And so I was happy about that. I was really excited. I'm feeling good. So I called Brother Victor to let him know, right, and thank him for suggesting me to use the product. And so I'm good.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond Muhammad. Mr. Victer Muhammad, what would you suggest in a new health paradigm that those who are suffering from pre-existing condition, or what is now described in the African American community as core comorbidities, um, what would you say to those who are looking at alternatives as it relates to their health and your new health paradigm as it relates to immunotherapy or other products of that nature?
I
The
would
African
suggest to get
American,
on the product.
Say that again, sir.
Or was that question for me?
No, sir. It was for Mr. Victer Muhammad.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Yes, sir.
the the African American community, and people will find it hard pressed to believe what I'm about to state. The African American community has the worst health health condition in the world. Even so-called third world countries, the people don't have the diseases and diagnosis that from which members of the African American community suffer. Uh, there is no one thing that's going to change the condition of the African American community health. There has to be an overall change in every aspect of the life of the African American. Those people who are in leadership in the African American community are not qualified to be leaders. Contrary to what has been accepted in the Western world, only God can make a leader. A leader is not an individual who is trained, who is educated. A leader is an individual from the time the sperm of the dad meet the egg of the mother. That leader is born. A leader is conceived at that time. So when that person comes to birth 9 months later, that person is born a leader. Then God sets things in motion to take that individual through trials and tribulations, circumstances and conditions to expose this person, this man, into situations that will train him, hone his skills of leadership, that thus turn him into a leader. How do you know if you are a leader? Because a leader is always thinking and considering what's in the best interest of the whole as opposed to self. That's the first condition of a leader. And you can't teach yourself to be selfless like that. You have to be born that way. And so the African American community suffers because it has no leaders. I can recognize Minister Louis Farrakhan as a leader in the Black community or the African American community. And if people would listen to his leadership and guidance, they would be rightly guided. There is absolutely no doubt about that. So, the question you raised, Mr. Ahad, is what would I recommend in the new paradigm that we are bringing into fruition? That is that we began an educational process, a process that will retrain and educate the human being that is called the African American. That is the only thing that is going to change the condition of the African American and change the health condition of the African American. The African American suffers from a multitude, a cadre of different social, mental, and biological diseases. These are termed in a new term called comorbidities, meaning that you're suffering from a group of different infractions simultaneously. And we have put in place with Life Sciences of Washington a healthcare system that does address every component of the human health. We do not practice medicine, although some of our partners are medical doctors. And those who may come to us who want to see a medical doctor, then we have them, and you will have access to them. But we, as an organization in the new health paradigm, we will not employ medicine. We will not employ drugs because we believe that this is one of the profound factors that has decimated the health not of just the African American community, but the community of the entire Western world. We think that it's great when we can brag that our grandmother lived to be 91, but that's not living, and that's not a good age. When before 6,000 years ago, we were living 900, 1,000 years. So, what is 91 years compared to someone who lived 900 years before 6,000 years ago? So, this is the plan. And these are the actions, Mr. Ahad, that we have taken with Life Sciences of Washington to provide people with an alternative that does not destroy their health and will actually repair their health.
Thank you, Mr. Victer Muhammad. Thank you, Mr. Raymond Muhammad. We at Nature's V and the Life Sciences of Washington would like to thank all of those who have tuned in today. We thank you for your review of what you were dealing with as it relates to your condition. Mr. Raymond Muhammad, we thank you for your honesty. Is there anything that you would like to close with just shortly to those who might be considering looking into what the new health paradigm that Mr. Victer Muhammad has presented to you, Mr. Raymond Muhammad?
Uh, I would just like to say that I'm very pleased with the product and the guidance that Brother Victor has been giving me, right? I would encourage anyone, right, to reach out and find out about the product.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We have reached our 15 minutes for today. Thank you all for taking your time out of your busy schedule. This concludes today's presentation of Life Sciences of Washington, How to Eat to Live Facebook channel. Thank you, Mr. Victer Muhammad of Life Sciences of Washington. Thank you, Mr. Raymond Muhammad, for coming on and doing a product review of IB100. I am Mr. Eric Ahad of natures-v.com. You all have a great day and blessings and greetings.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.